We're gonna start with whoever started first, and we're just gonna start talking and see where it goes. So let's start with you, Waz.
Wait,
Alright.
wait, say that? Oh, never mind.
Okay, so I just say my tag, right? Alright, so my full tag is Warrior of Zarona, but my friends call me Waz. I live in Union. And I was around. Do I say how long I was around? I started in 2004, and I've been around. My prime was really like '05 to '08, and I kind of retired after that. And yeah,
On your
it's
back
fun.
now, though.
What was that?
On your back now, though.
I'm back now, sort of. I'm in and out of the community. I like to just say a few things sometimes and then disappear. So.
And then, so next up, I guess Brendan. Your mic's muted. You see this? I don't know. Brendan's having
Yeah,
some
what's up?
Oh yeah.
No, I'm here.
Yeah, tell us who you are, first tournament, all that stuff.
Okay. My real name's Brendan. My original tag was Nintendocereal. Nowadays it's Boo. My first tournament was Best in New York in 2002. I think that was in December, a year after the game was released. And then I think I quit after Game Over. That was the tournament where Ken beat Aizen. And I came back in 2014. Zenith.
Cool. Alright, TecZero.
Wait, what did you want me to say?
Name,
My tag?
when did you start, your town, all that's, your origin, basically.
Okay, so my tag is TecZero. I started competitively probably around 2007. My first tournament was Web 2 Zone series. Oh man.
Oh my God, Web 2 Zone.
My first round opponent was Bum, and then I ran the losers gauntlet to 5th place in my first tournament.
Wow.
I remember that. And I think my second tournament was your tournament, was. I went to my first New Jersey tournament was your tournament, and I got
Nice.
third. I lost to Mewtwo King and Sensei. And I kept playing till around 13 or 14? It was Zenith something. I forgot which Zenith. And I think I got 9th, and then I stopped playing. I'm like here and there just because my friend plays, but I don't play that often anymore.
Alright. Other Brendan? Brendan? Suicidefox?
Am I up?
Yo, there you are.
What's up? So, my name is the Suicidefox. I started in 2002. My first tournament was also Bin, the original Bin. I was prominent since then till about 2008, when it was like shortly after Brawl came out is when I kind of backed out of the scene. Most known as one of the founders of some of the East Coast scene. And from like 2004 to 2008, I was running a lot of the Smash tournaments in New Jersey with King of the Couch. And went up to Brawl, and now I'm here, and you guys contacted me, and I've still been around. What was the other stuff we had to talk about? Oh yeah, my first tournament. So my name, I just want to get this out there. My first tournament was Bin, right? And I went to this tournament. I got put against Marshall, who was the guy running the tournament. He was DA Chic. And I was so nervous, I ended up pretty much, it was 10 stock games. And I think I 8 stocked myself because I just kept jumping off the map because I was an idiot. Went home, made the name the Suicidefox, and it has stuck since. I even still use it to this day, even outside the Smash community. And yeah, I think that's it. Did I miss anything?
No, that's
I missed
good.
something.
And then,
Cool.
Yeah, I'm Best Boy. I've been TOing a long time, and I joined Smash probably 2013. And Smelly can give a quick, brief intro to who he is, too. We're just going to be asking questions to these guys since they've been around way before us.
Yeah, I'm Smelly Cat. Some of you guys know me. Yeah, I think me and Chris are just here to kind of moderate. I got into Smash when Brawl came out in like '08, started going to tournaments 2010. That's it.
Alright, yeah, we're babies compared to these four. So,
Yeah, that's when I stopped playing Smash, when
Yeah.
Brawl came out.
No,
That's
yeah, when
actually
Brawl came out, I was like, yo, I can't do this. I gotta play Melee.
So let's say, I mean, between the four of you, I guess Suicidefox and Waz were the first two. Oh no, sorry, Boo actually started 2002. He said. So you
Yeah,
both.
I think I met him. I met Brandon at Bin One. That's kind of how Code Red and a lot of the New Jersey scene started to come together. Because
Oh, Code Red. Oh.
Yeah, this is.
here's a story from my end, or Brendan
Where
can
Lane
go if he's
was?
up.
Yeah, just start with the story of that first tournament and I guess the first cruise and what happened with that.
All right, well, Brandon, you want to start? You want me to start?
Yeah, I actually don't recall meeting you at Bin. I met you shortly after Bin. I think we both met members of DA at Bin.
Yeah.
And then we eventually hooked up through Smashboards. Ended up visiting you at Rutgers.
Yeah. So what happened for me was with Ben. I just started going to Rutgers, and my roommate of all people happened to be a guy from the Smash forums. His name was Steve W. And he got me into competitive Smash. Like I just played the game. He bodied me when we played at our dorm room, and he got me into the competitive Smash thing. And he showed me Bin, and I'm like, we got to go to this. So we went out to this, and oh man, it was awesome. It was like it was just a room. It was a dive bar with just a room filled with people playing Smash Brothers on like a bunch of different TVs. And DA was there. I remember meeting Wes. I remember meeting the person I definitely remember meeting is this guy named Kamal. He was DA's Luigi.
Yeah, sit in here.
Oh yeah, you remember him?
Yeah.
Like he had the Luigi shirt and everything.
He said people who didn't know how to wave dash were ignorant. That's my first experience with him.
Yeah.
He later apologized.
Yeah, he's a big loving. He's a scary guy. He's a big guy, but he was wearing this giant green T-shirt and a green hat. He was like repping Luigi to the max, and he was the only one there that could wave dash, as far as I could tell. And everyone wanted to watch him play because he could wave dash. That was like
him and one other Luigi could wave dash. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like everyone was wanting to watch these guys wave dash all over the place. That was like the thing. Like no one cared about actually fighting. Everyone was just like, just wave dash for like 5 minutes. I want to see it. Yeah.
I had actually no idea what he was doing, and like my friend speculated that it had something to do with like it being on Fountain of Dreams, and there's like a pool in the middle, so he's sliding on the water. Like we just had no idea what was going on.
So I guess how old were you guys? And yeah, how old were you guys? And what was the experience for you? I guess you were going there pretty young. Did you really get into it immediately? Did you have to get convinced to keep playing?
Hold on, I gotta do some math to find out how old I was.
No, I know how old I was. I'm just embarrassed to admit it.
Yeah, same.
You don't have to
So I'm
say.
old as hell. So I was one of the few people able to drive at that time.
Okay, so like high school.
Same here. Yeah, we were both. I was in my freshman year of college, so I was like 19 ish.
I was 19.
When I went to it. Yeah.
Okay.
See, we're in the same boat here.
Yeah.
So most of the people there were all
You're
your
not that
age.
old.
It wasn't like you were a little kid getting beat up by a better person.
No,
Oh
no.
no, yeah. Most of the people there were. I mean, I want to say the youngest people there were maybe like 15.
Yeah.
Most of the guys from DA were, 17, 18.
Right.
About that age. So it wasn't like a lot of little kids. It was like a lot of guys like hungry for money. That's what it was. It's not. It was the scene back then was different than it was now because you didn't have YouTube, you didn't have Twitch, you barely had Smash Forums was like all we had. So when something like that went down, Bin, Go, anything like that back then, that was the thing, and you had to be there. There was no other way, you didn't find out about the results of something for like 4 or 5 days. Just how it was back then.
I think Zang just joined us. Zang,
What's up, Zang?
Oh yeah.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. What's up, Zang?
Hey, what's up, guys?
We're just talking about Best in New York, December 2002, Nintendocereal, and Suicidefox's first tournament. I guess we can move on a bit. You can touch on the crews if they started there, I guess, but then maybe get into when you met Waz, Zang, and TecZero.
So the only crew at that time that was established was DA, which was Wes, Marcel, Chris, who was a Jigglypuff. What does he go by? Killer Aurora.
Oh man.
Mike G.
Yeah, Mike G.
Hayne.
Dave. Yeah, there was like 8 of them. You know, they were a crew, and they were the ones running the tournament, and they were the ones that pretty much won the tournament. I think that Wes. I want to say that Wes got like second or third.
Wes got second to Marcel.
Yeah, he lost.
I don't think Marcel was actually in DA. I think he was friends, but he was considered a rival.
Yeah.
He was chic, and he ended up beating Wes, I think, to win the first bin.
Yeah, and Wes back then was like he was really good because he could read you. Like a lot of people rolled all the time back then. So he would just wait for you to roll and just cannon punch you in the face. Just do that to everybody. And everybody fell for it because everyone was just that newbie back then.
Everyone sucked.
Yeah, like real bad. And yeah, Wes and Marcel pretty much dominated everyone. Kamal did pretty good too, I think. But as far as Code Red goes, that's what you want to know, right? So Code Red was like me and Steve, my roommate, Steve W. We wanted to have a New Jersey clan to like rival DA. So we decided to put our own clan together. And we were sitting there coming up with names. Brendan, you might have been there. I don't know if you were there when we were forming like the first thing and trying to come up with a name. But here's the story of the name.
No, I wanted in the group.
Names. Oh, right. So we were throwing out names, and it's just me and Steve, and we're just saying stuff, like just stuff that we see in our room. And then I think there was a Mountain Dew bottle that said Code Red on it, and he's like, Code Red. And we were like, nah. And then we went through like 5 more names, and then we were like, Code Red sounds pretty good, actually. Like, it sounds like a pretty cool, like, we could, like, have cool logos. Like, we started talking about that. And then we got in touch with Ryan, he played as Link. I want to say that he went to Rutgers, but I'm not 100% sure on that. He might have gone to Rutgers, Newark or something. And then we also met up with Brendan through the forums, and that was, like, I want to say the OG, like, Code Red crew was the 4 of us.
So... I guess, so you guys were founded like early 2003.
Yeah, somewhere around 2000. It was like shortly after the first bin, when we started forming.
And when did, you had your little fight with Deadly Alliance, but I guess when did you start to meet other New Jersey people outside of your crew and really play with them? I guess people like Waz, Zang.
I remember meeting Waz and Zang like, I want to say like 2004-ish. Would you guys say that would be right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, it was some tournament in Metuchen. Remember Jason Monday, that house that he was in?
Yeah.
That's where I met you. And that's also where I met Wes and everybody. That was actually my first tournament where I met you at Jason Monday's house.
Talk about that for a bit then, I guess. Right? Were all of you guys there, or just Waz and Suicidefox?
I don't remember. I just remember that it was this house that this guy owned. It was like his dad's house, and he packed like at least 30 people inside that house. And Suicidefox was there. Wes was there. That's the first time I met Wes and a bunch of DA. I just remember thinking, I'm going to go in as Sheik. And then I was Sheik doing this other person. I forget who it was. And I remember being frustrated because I thought he was cheating, because I thought all the stuff he was doing, he was cheating back then. So I think that's always the first experience with everybody. Like, what the heck is this thing he's doing? It's like moving around, wave dashing. What is that? And then I was talking to Suicidefox a lot. And I think from that on, I think you were trying to teach people. Like, you were showing off a little bit. You were showing off like double lasers. You were showing off pizza angle. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I like to show off a lot of stuff. I like the short hop double laser thing came about because Steve was really good with doing frame data, and he told me, he's like, he calculated like Fox's jump and the laser and all. He's like, you could fire 2 lasers in one short hop, We're both like, you could never do that. No one can move their fingers that fast. And one day I was just sitting in our dorm room practicing it over and over and over, and I finally got it. I got the timing on it, and I started doing it over and over and over again. And then after that, like every tournament I went to, I would do that just because it was just really flashy at the time to like see people do that.
Yeah. I actually was super inspired to do it myself, and I always used to brag because I was like, I would do short hop double laser with the X button, and not a lot. So I would go to tournaments. I would show that off too. Like, look what I can do. Go over the E button and stuff. Good
Yo,
memories.
what's the pizza angle?
Yeah, so pizza angle is all right. So this is how Jason of DA, he was the DA's Fox that me and him had like a rivalry thing going. He always kind of won out on me, but he explained it to me this way. So you ever see that episode of South Park when they're skiing, and he's like,
Yeah, French fries.
if you French fry when you want a pizza, you're gonna have a bad time. So French fry is just going straight up and down. That's a French fry with the Firefox. And then you have an angle, right? That's the normal 45-degree angle. Is just, that's you can do that at like a 35-degree angle, and it looks really weird. It's like a halfway between those 2 points, and it almost curves. And he would call that pizza-ing because it would I don't know, look like the shape of a pizza maybe. And that's pretty much, I just started calling it that and showing people.
What? That's dope.
So they had a lot of weird names for a lot of stuff. Let's just put that out there. Wes had a habit of always like just replacing the first letter of your name with a B. Like he called Ken Ben. He called Isaiah. What did he call him? Idika or Idika or something like that. Yeah. They had weird names for everything. So a lot of the names that come up with some of that stuff, that's just them being silly,
Word.
I forget what the other questions were. Sorry.
I guess you also mentioned you met Izai and Ken around that time. What am I saying, Izai? Isaiah.
Isaiah.
Yeah. What around? Which tournament was this? The same house one, or a later one?
No, I want to say this was slightly before or after. It was a pretty big tournament. I remember the first tournament where Ken and Isaiah came over to the East Coast was this tournament in Massachusetts, being held by these guys. The only way I remember them is the Ninja Turtles, and I'm pretty sure that is not their clan name. That's what West called them. Again, that's like their funny stuff that they do. So, but there were 4 guys. They played as Peach, Marth, I think Fox and Falco, or Fox and Sheik. And they put on this tournament, and they managed to get Ken and Isaiah to come out to this. And that was the first time I met either of them, and they were both awesome guys. Ken had a really unique style at the time that no one could really get around, and that's kind of how he was like really beating people. Don't know if that was around 2004 or if that was later. Timeline is maybe Waz or Zhang if they remember, or Brendan.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I'm getting old.
Yeah.
It's probably 04.
Yeah, I just remember that because I had drove up there with DA Dave. I think Brendan might have been with me as well. We all drove up there in 2 cars, and DA Dave was like on a rampage. Like he was bodying everyone through the tournament. He was set to go against Ken, and then right before he was like supposed to go against Ken still had a couple more matches. So he's like, "Oh, we can go get food now. We hadn't eaten the entire day. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe." And we go to some Burger King and McDonald's, but it took us like 30 minutes to walk there, and then 30 minutes to walk back. By the time he got back, he was so just out of it that Ken just like completely went through him, And I remember him being really pissed at that, and that he was all like, I'm gonna beat him. The next time he comes over, I'm gonna beat him. And I think he did at a tournament. I want to say they came back to another tournament in Virginia that Haha You Lose was hosting. That might have been a bit later.
Yeah, I have a question for you guys. Like the earliest tournaments, like 03, 02, were they like hosted in people's houses or like random venues? Like what kind of venues did they use back then?
So like a couple venues were people's houses. Like that guy in Metuchen, it was his house. He literally cleared out the entire bottom floor, like he took all the couches and pushed them against the wall and stuff. And you just had 30 people in someone's house. Bin 1, I think Bin 1 was a dive bar. That's what it looked like to me. It was like a little cave thing in the middle of Manhattan.
Yeah, that
And
sounds
there
about
was,
right.
Yeah, there was like 50 people in there. There's barely enough room to walk around. And I'm sure everyone here is familiar with that odor that surrounds like a tournament for any game.
Yeah, body odor.
So
HBO?
that was like I have gone to like hundreds of tournaments. That was the worst it has ever been. It was excruciating how bad it was.
It's the burning
But
flame.
yeah, but
I can second that. It was pretty intense.
yeah. But the experience of being there and playing Smash, like you kind of once you started playing, you kind of stopped caring. You're just like, I don't even care anymore. I want to go and I want to play this game. And other tournaments were being held. Some people managed to get like maybe a VFW hall. When I hosted my first tournament, which was before I hooked up with King of the Couch, I hosted a tournament in Wayne at this LAN center. I actually met up with Nexus from Halo fame, who went on to be an MLG commentator and everything for the Halo series. He got his start also at NJSSBM, and he was working at that LAN center at the time. And I ran a tournament. I got a lot of people. I must have gotten like 30 or 40 people at this tournament. I only had 4 setups. And I had to run all these people, and he was impressed with the way I did it. So he got me in touch with Rod, who was in charge of the KOTC stuff. And that's kind of how I started doing KOTC, was with that. I also remember going to a couple tournaments that were at. So there was one tournament, probably my second or third tournament was in, I want to say Queens or Bronx, one of the two. And it was at someone's house in his backyard. It was great that it was a beautiful day because he had an outdoor garage with like the automatic door. He had like 10 setups in there. And everyone was playing. And that's one of the first tournaments where I really got to talk to DA and like get to know them really well. Like I met them at Bin, but it was kind of like they were like the coolest guys there, so everyone wanted to meet them. But this was a place like I really got to sit down and talk to Kamal and Mike G and Wes and like really get to know them and stuff. And they became good friends. And I think I saw Wes most recently, like a year and a half ago, at a tournament that ended up being somewhere in Philly. Because I happened to be going to another tournament for another game, and he was at a tournament for another game in the same building. So it was nice to see him again. I'm rambling. Someone else take it. Go.
Wait, I actually had another question. How did you guys find out about tournaments back then? Was it all on Smashboards? Like, was that a thing, or was it like just word of mouth, or like some like weird site?
Game facts.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I was the big
Smashboards.
Game Facts head before I entered Smashboards. I think before 2000, like I had a Smashboards account, but I think from 04 to 05, I was mainly Game Facts, and then I started going into Smashboards because I was getting a crew together. But that's a story later on.
All right.
Word.
Yeah. I guess. So we've heard most of the origins. Zhang talked about himself in another call. TecZero, when did you really? I guess what was your first event? When did you meet these guys?
My first event was for sure. I found out I got it by another player in my town who kind of got into it through videos. Like I got into the time when like PC and all that started happening and MLG and stuff. So my friend saw PC and he was like, "Yo, I want to get that good. Let's just start playing, go to tournaments." So it's kind of how I got in. I actually met a bunch of these guys at one of Waz's tournaments. I forgot what it was called. Oh my god, can't even remember.
It was either Smashtality or Smashiker. One of
I
those.
think it was Smashiker. funny story. The first time I went to your tournament I met Inui. And I had to play him in tournament. And I bodied his shit. And that was the greatest experience of my life.
Inui's reputation back then is you really
He
wanted
talked
to beat
so
him.
much shit. Oh my god. It was so good beating him. Oh my god. Yeah. It's about, I don't know, like, I think around then, actually, I didn't really have, like, a bunch of, like, crew stuff, but after I went to Waz's event, a few people were asking me if I was in crews, because crews were still big around 2007, and then I was asked to join a bunch. Those good times.
Is DTJ one of your old crews?
Say that again?
Is DTJ like your original crew and you just never left them? Because they're pretty old.
No.
Okay.
This is just, like, my friends made up, like, this joke crew, and I'm friends with him, so he was just like, hey, just, join us. I'm like, alright. So I just did. That's it.
Never mind.
Nothing really historic there.
What was
The first crew I joined was,
No, yeah. What was the first crew? But also, what was like the year and month of that tournament you were talking about just now? The first one you had.
The one in New Jersey, 2007. I feel like is in March.
Okay.
It was like warm, so I want to say March or April. And the first serious crew I joined was the Tunes, because I think in New Jersey at the time, the major crews were TSA, THP, and the Tunes. So I joined one of them.
All right.
Wait, who was in the tunes? Is that like Eggman and his crew?
Yeah.
It was Eggum, Treble, Bass, me, Vans, a few others. A few others local to the Neptune area.
Was Van sick back then?
Vans was ridiculous. He was probably like third or fourth best in New York at the time. He was definitely super, super good. It was like right before he like exploded as like the best peach in the world. This is before Armada, but yeah.
Is there a lot of travel between New York and New Jersey because there just weren't the events that we have nowadays?
There was a lot of traveling, yeah. So during Web 2 Zone, I think not much traveling happened. Like there were a lot of events at Web 2 Zone, like regional tournaments and local tournaments. So a lot of people just went there. But after it closed, like people were kind of trying to find events, and it was getting much harder to find it in the city. So then people, especially New York, started driving out to New Jersey.
Was New Jersey more of a spot for tournaments than New York was?
Kind of. I want to say yes because there were so many good TOs back in the day. Like we had Waz, right? We had Waz back then. We had Emblem Lord. Like Scar held a few.
Jesus.
If I remember correctly. Chibo. Like there were so many TOs. So I feel like there are more in New Jersey.
Yeah, New Jersey always has a lot of TOs.
Yeah. Which is good. Which is great.
So this is around 2006 or 2007. Then you're getting into it. Suicidefox. Well, Brendan, Nintendocereal said he quit very soon after, like 2005, I think. But yeah, when did Suicidefox, Zang get out of it, I guess, and then start to come back into it later?
So I fell out of it shortly after Brawl came out. I think my last tournament was in August after Brawl came out. At the time, I was getting into other games, still into this other game, Gears of War.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in that community, and it was kind of Brawl just wasn't my cup of tea. I'm sorry. It's just if you play Brawl, I cannot stand that game. I do not care how much hate I get for it. I think that game is horrible. That's just my opinion.
Brawl sucks.
Melee, yeah. Melee is Melee. Smash 4 is pretty good. But anyway, so at the time, Brawl was just like, oh my god, this game is garbage. I'm not playing this anymore. So I made the jump over to the Gears of War community about then, and I was running tournaments for Gears and Halo and all this other stuff for King of the Couch. I think Waz was taking over some of the stuff for. Didn't you take over KOTC for a moment back then?
For a little bit before I just decided to go off and do my own thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's about when I got out of it, and then you guys contacted me. So that's me getting back into it. Is you guys reaching out to me.
So you really had zero contact with anyone in the community up until today, or a month ago?
Well, like I said, I saw Wes at a tournament. I was at a Gears tournament, and he was at a fighting. It was Winter Brawl, and he was there for Smash 4. And I actually, because I heard someone that's in the Gears community is also a Smasher, and he told me that DA was there, and I'm like, no way. So I actually went over and just bought a ticket just to go in and talk to them. It was, just that, like, I wanted to see them that much. But yeah, I haven't really been in touch with a lot of people in the community since I kind of bailed out, just because, I don't know, moves over to somewhere else. It's kind of how it works. Move on in life.
It's time to come back.
Yeah, maybe I will, because Melee's got like this revival thing going now.
Yeah, let's
Well, now it's just getting more and more ridiculous.
I think something that all of you kind of relate on is about the time you started getting back into it, which was probably around 2013 onward. So that's something Smelly and I can relate to a bit more too. Is what brought you guys back to tournaments? And I guess what was your first tournament coming back? What really drew you in? Anyone can speak. Yeah, Zang, Waz, anyone.
I remember going to one of the ROMs that Alucard was hosting. I don't remember which one, but the reason why I went is because a bunch of TSA was going to be there. Like TSA is all over the place now. They used to be like New Jersey, Philly, New York, whatever, but a lot of them on the West Coast. But I remember Pocky was coming and Scar was coming, and so I was like, I just gotta go, just say hi to him. I entered, and I'm in and out. You know what I mean? Like I've held a few tournaments the past couple of years, and the only reason I stopped is because I lost the venue. Actually, I think you even reached out to me, and I see that on Facebook that you were like, "Oh man, you lost the venue. If you need the venue, let me know." Oh, you know. And I'm kind of holding Smash now at KOTC, but it feels like mine, but not mine at the same time because it's with KOTC. Plus, it's in Pennsylvania. That's what sucks. I'd rather be closer to home. That's what I'd like to do. If I can find a good venue right now, I would love to be still part of the community and just keep hosting tournaments. I just need a venue in New Jersey to figure that out. That's where I'm around. Yeah.
Talk to me after the show. We could probably. I might.
Word.
Nice.
There you go.
I still got my finger in some stuff, so.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Sounds no homo.
So my friend kind of, for me, my friend kind of brought me back into the community. Infernal Colonel.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. I guess he saw the Smash documentary. I was completely uninvolved with the scene. He showed it to me, and apparently Wes mentions my name in it. I thought that was pretty cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then he just kind of pressured me to go to Zenith in 2014, and I guess I fell in love with the game again. So I'm back.
When did you meet Magus, and did you help Magus get back into it, or did he help you get back into it?
I'd say both.
Okay.
So I first met him in 2003. That's someone that he contacted us on Smashboards, I believe. And so Steve, Neo Cyrex, and I, as Code Red, went down and played him and his friends. And at the time, we utterly bodied them. He had no idea what was going on. And he kind of just, after that, I know he just wanted to be great at Smash, and we would hang out quite often, practice a lot. And then he and I had a falling out when I just fell out of the scene. And when I decided to come back after Zenith, I had to guess my password on Smashboards. Finally found it after about 30 minutes, and he actually had left his number in a message. I hadn't talked to him in like, I don't know, 8 years or something, and then I called up that number. He still had the same number. He was still living in the same place, and we just met up and been practicing. I guess early 2015. Yeah.
That's
So
awesome. We definitely have to get Magus in one of these, even, or at least get his background in the game. Do you know if he was playing that entire time, or did he take a break too?
I think he's always been involved in the scene in some way. He was one of the lead developers for Project M, and he hosted tournaments himself. I don't think he ever completely left the scene. He's always been involved in some way. But I definitely got him to come back out and start competing again.
Yeah, it's definitely been great seeing him back at tournaments.
Yeah, like Jersey Japes and recently the Quarterly Report.
Yeah, hopefully the next one. Announce that soon. And then, yeah, so Waz has always been around. Zhang, you talked about leaving and coming back briefly before, but you can talk about it again, I guess.
Yeah, so I'll just recap. So I quit around 2006 just because, college was coming. I want to take a break from the game. I was playing a bit too much. So I sort of went cold turkey for about 3 to 4 years. And yeah, I just stopped playing after college. I thought I was finally retired for good. And then I saw Evo 2013 randomly. I just was on a random game forum. They said, oh, check out Evo. And I'm like, all right, let's see. Oh, Melee. That game's still alive? I thought it was done. And it was just crazy how big the scene had gotten and how hype everything was. And it was at that point that I thought, okay, when I quit, I was 25th in the world or country or whatever. If I dedicate a year, can I get back to that ranking? Just kind of like as a personal challenge to myself. So yeah, late 2013, I kind of made a challenge to myself, dedicate 1 year, see how well I can do. And that's how I got back. And even though the year has passed and I didn't make my goal, I still try and go to tournaments occasionally, just hang out with friends and just still play the game I love.
Yo, that's great.
Yeah.
Since you guys have been playing the game for so long, I think it'd be interesting to hear all of your perception on what's changed since back then. Like, we know crews isn't a big deal anymore, having like a composition of different characters in your crew. The attitude toward things, maybe the environment. I think especially,
Yeah, I got something to say about that.
Yeah,
if that's okay.
Yeah, one more thing I think that you guys should all talk about too is why Melee is so addictive. What's the quality about it that keeps you personally coming back? Because there's no one answer to that, and I think everyone has their own thing that they find in the game. So yeah, kind of what you guys all touched on, but maybe a little more philosophical.
It's just a great game, right? At the end of the day.
I think it's a depth of Melee. Like even now, and before the stream was on, Suicidefox, and we're talking about wow, there's still a meta, and it's still evolving. And I think that's the great thing about the game is that there's maybe so many things we haven't discovered yet, and then not only that, when people discovered it, they're applying it to the game, further evolving the meta. And just the gameplay 10 years ago and the gameplay now is so drastically different. It's definitely much faster. It's definitely more technical than it was back then. It's funny because I entered a tournament recently and they're like, oh man, you have such an old school fox. And it's weird, people calling me an old school fox, but it's true because I don't play foxes the way foxes these days play. Like, they're crazy. I'm more about the mind games, I guess, and just the only reason I would win is because of experience, but like that's one thing I've noticed. Another thing I want to comment on is attitude. Okay, attitude is something that's different because I think back then, I'd say 10 years ago, people were more chill. There was definitely drama, but people were just overall in New Jersey were just chill smashers. Like, people wouldn't get mad. There weren't really any sore losers. I mean, I know nothing to say bad about Eggum, but Eggum can be sort of a sore loser. But other than Eggum, everyone was just pretty chill. Like, these days, like, people always have an opinion about something, and they just attack each other. That's just my opinion from what I'm seeing, sort of on the outside, but being in sort of at the same time. I don't know.
Yo, I actually wanted to ask, I've always been trying to get to the bottom of the Eggum story. I heard he body slammed Aziz through a table one time. Do you guys know about that shit? I'm just trying to know what happened. I want to know what went down. And
I wish I was there for that.
Nobody was there for that.
I was not there for that.
Maybe it never happened, man.
No one.
No, I
Just
haven't.
join. Yeah, Dave, can you hear us? Yeah, he can. Your mic's muted, but this is Papa Dave, everyone. Da Dave, another old school guy.
What's up, Dave?
Yeah, I think
What's up, Dave?
So,
What's up?
Yeah, there we go.
What's up, Dave?
oh my
There he
god.
is. Oh, God.
He didn't change.
So, Dave, you want to talk about your first tournament, how you met all these guys, stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. All right. So first tournament. First tournament was 2002 in November. I actually went to one. It was called Philly Fest. It was made by Philly Billy Ron. He actually held one in Queens, in Jamaica, Queens. It's like the first time I ever went to Jamaica, Queens. And the first time I went to Jamaica, Queens, and it was pretty scary to say the least. But I went there, I didn't really know anybody. I didn't know anything. I didn't even enter the tournament because I didn't even know where I had to pay, and I was scared to pull my money out. I thought I was gonna get robbed. It was just I just didn't expect the people to look the way they did, I should say. Because there was that stigma that if you're a gamer, you're this fat, nerdy guy with pimples all over your face. I'm sure we've all been criticized looking that way. And I get there, and it's like a whole bunch of guys. It's like a whole bunch of guys that have nothing. Like they look like they just came off of a basketball championship. So they just didn't look. They just didn't represent what I thought I was going to see there. So a lot of people were cursing. They were screaming. They were fighting with each other. I saw people getting rough. So again, I wasn't really into it, and I left because I thought it was going to escalate to something else. After that, I took a hiatus, because I didn't get to see anybody play or anything like that. There was like 3 TVs back then. Was 10 stock, all stages.
Oh,
And it wasn't my cup of tea. So after that, I went to BIN, which is the Best in New York series, and that's post me learning about Smashboards. I learned about Smashboards, so you already know the troll came out of me, right? And I was in there like swimwear. I was posting things almost every single day, talking nonsense to all these players because a lot of people were writing about tactics that I thought were so useless. Like, I remember reading about how to beat level 9 Ganondorf. I remember these. I remember reading these things. I'm like, I can't believe this is what people are really talking about on Smashboards. And I saw a combo video that really made me re-look at the way Smash Brothers was played. It was a combo video. I don't know, you guys probably never even heard of this guy, but it was this guy, his combo video, then I believe he went by the handle Deltree, Deltree, and the only reason it got me hyped was because in the beginning of the combo video, remember Morpheus tells Neo, Neo says, "Oh, I know Kung Fu," and Morpheus goes, "Show me," in the Matrix. That's how it started, and I was like, "Oh, this is hype. I've never seen a video game match with like an intro like this," So I did watch the video. There were a couple things that were super impractical, but they were still impressive. First time I ever seen it. So I actually, like many other smashers out there starting, I just sent him a message on AIM, and we started talking. And I decided I was going to take the game a little more serious at that point, And that's when I started playing with Wes and playing with the rest of DA. We were playing for years and years. Like I said, I went to Ben. I beat who was their best Falco player at the time. And then I'll go ahead and I just started, playing with them like almost every single day. It was like everyday thing. I had my own little crew as well. We used to call each other the CHC, the Crack House crew. And we used to play, it was a whole variety of characters. We had Yoshis. We had Luigi's, but all in all, that's really how I started. I own a lot of my credibility and just the way I played to playing with DA all those years, especially Wes. He did teach me a whole different aspect of the game and how to have fun with it. That's like the #1 thing I can never take away from anything that I learned playing Smash. Is it's one of the few games that you can have fun with. You know, a lot of fighting games, they become repetitive, and you could play them as long as you learn the combos, as long as you learn like 4 bread and butters, you should be good. Doesn't really matter who you play, but because the combo's always going to look the same. You know, in the end, it's always going to look the same. Doesn't matter if you're the best in the world or if I did it on training mode, it's going to look exactly the same. The beauty about Smash is that it's always different. It's a dynamic game. It's never static. You know, you start playing the game and no 2 games are alike. It's impossible. You know, so in playing the games, I remember, you know, I would just play until your star count maxes out. I believe it maxes out at 255. And whoever wins the last match at that point is king of the night. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who it was. It doesn't matter if you lost everyone before. You win that last star, you are king of the night forever. You know, but of course, years passed, and I did move to New Jersey, and I started playing a lot with Zanguzen. That guy right there, that beautiful man, see in the bottom right there. Started playing a lot with Zanguzen. We played for many, many years. I share some of my most fondest memories in Smash with Zang. And I remember there was an era of maybe about 2 years where Zang and I were just trolling a whole bunch of New Jersey tournaments and New York tournaments, winning them with Link, Roy. It was just very, very easy at one point. But after that, I did take a hiatus. You know, I've teamed with some of the best players: Mr. King, Zang, Wes, of course, Azin. I've teamed with a lot of players. I've done very well. I ended up just putting the game down because, of course, like many other people, real life hit. Back in 2008, I did have a kid, and I just played that role from now on. You know, so I have started playing again with Warrior Knight, J-Flex. Just every now and then, I'll shoot up. I'll stop by. Zang always tells me to come back, but I don't know. You know, it's just, I just have no more confidence in the bird. Listen, I said it, and I say it best. Listen, I said the first time I've ever lost in a tournament to wobbling, I will wobble everybody for the rest of my life. That's it. Wobbling is the best thing that has ever happened to old people that can't do multiple shines. I'm just gonna wait for you to mess up. I'm gonna wobble, and it is over. That's all I gotta do. That's all. My hands are gonna work. I'm so happy that happened. Thank you, Wobbles. Thank you. So when I saw that, like I said, I picked up ICs now. I'm picking a lot of just different characters. I think that the meta game for the bird has changed a lot. And it just doesn't complement my style. You know, I play defensive in a lot of games. It's just the way I play. And I guess running a defensive Falco nowadays, it just doesn't work.
Man,
But
Can I mention something? Can I mention something really quick? I was looking at old Smash Tality. I can't look at 2 and 1 because freaking Smashboards deleted it, but I can see 3. You remember this, Dave? Your name was Spam Jam with Zang and Dave.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right? Spam Jam. That's great.
Yeah. Just spamming those lasers, you know. But again, like I said, I think that the game changed. I've played all of them. I've played Brawl. I've played PM. I've played, Smash 4. None of them really excite me, but I am an online monster. Loving that online map play.
Always on
You know.
Anvils.
I'm on it, Papa Dave. I've been on there for very, very long. I think I only have about 4 losses online, so come see me. You know, and a lot of the losses, I know who exactly they were. One was Hungry Box, but that's it. Otherwise, like I said, I am playing a lot more. I did go to like a couple tournaments recently. I did pretty well without training, but Flex has told me that in the next 2 weeks, I don't have school. I'm currently pursuing my MBA. So the next 2 weeks, I don't have school.
Nice.
And we'll see what's going to happen. Because Flex said that after tomorrow's my last final, and he says in 2 weeks, I'm going to be godlike, and I'm going to win everything. So we'll see.
You about to graduate, Dave?
Yeah, I graduated in January.
You're graduating in January? Congrats, dude.
Yeah, I'm doing I did a dual MBA. I'm getting an MBA in project management and MIS.
That's so sick, dude. I'm so happy to hear.
Yeah, man. Moving on up.
Dave, do you You remember meeting like what tournament you met Suicidefox at, or what tournament you met Waz at?
Absolutely, yeah. Suicide Fox. Listen, before anything in New Jersey, talking about before there was even a tournament, we went actually to Rutgers, and we went to play with this cheap player that was talking nonsense online. His name was Steve Bubblegum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I swear.
Steve Wasserloos.
Yes. And we used to. His roommate was actually Joe at the time, which is I believe so.
Yeah.
And I met him through there. Yeah. Joe and I did a 16-hour trip to FC. I was in his car. I know him very well. He's a very nice guy. And I remember pre him cutting his tongue in half. So.
Yeah.
But I met him.
My tongue cut, yeah.
I went to the King of the Couch tournaments that he used to host. He was great, man. We went on a lot of road trips together, maybe to Virginia, to Maryland. We went to Pennsylvania before, and
Hey,
I can't even remember how many
with you, bro. That's me. That's the Fox. What's up?
But it was there were many years. I'll never forget it. I think that it helped me out in my real day and everyday life.
Yo, something happened?
Hello?
Hello? Yeah, Fox, we hear you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good. I thought my mic was messed up. Yeah, Dave, I got a question for you. Do you remember going to that tournament in Massachusetts, and we were getting there at night, and there was a brawl happening in front of a bar, and these guys, like, toppled over in front of my car, and remember when I locked my door?
That is the best time ever.
You remember that? Oh man, that was like one of my best memories from that trip was that fight. I was so terrified. We were in I don't know where, Massachusetts. It looked like a farm or something around us. I don't even know. And we were driving past this bar, and these dudes just started brawling right in front of my car. And I just reached over and just locked the door because I was terrified. And then Dave just starts bawling out laughing because I did that.
Yeah, man, that was the Saturn, man, the number one car ever.
And that was the tournament when we stayed with the guy that did the home run contest, right? What was his name?
Yeah,
The Ganondorf on the television that didn't even work. Like, world record home run contest, and you can't even see what you're doing? Like, how do you do that?
Who was it?
It was Corner Dealy.
Yeah, that's who it was.
Cool.
He had world records in a lot of the home run contest stuff. And we had this TV that was like, this was like a 1950s TV. It had the round screen that was like 6 inches across, with the TV being like 50 feet across. And it barely got a video feed, but he was able to do the world record or like this world record strat. He didn't get the full world record, but he hit it. And it was like, how did you do that? Because he memorized all the inputs. It was crazy. That was like one of the first times I seen home run contest stuff. That stuff don't happen no more, right? No more home run contests?
Nothing happens anymore. What happens nowadays? What happens? Let's be honest. Come on, man. I'm gonna get in it, man. Let's be honest. What happens?
Just dudes trying hella hard to win
They're the
things.
same people that play all the time, right? Yeah, the same 5 players all the time, always playing, always winning, always whatever. Same 6 now, whatever. Same people always winning. It says a lot. I'm sorry, but it says a lot about the community. I'm gonna be a little pessimistic right now, but that's BS. How are the same people winning all of the time? It doesn't make sense. It's either they don't play with anybody else, or whoever they play with are really just that goddamn dumb. Like, how do you not understand? Even if I played somebody that was that good, even if just playing with them for a year, all I did was just copy everything they did. Just carbon copy it. Carbon copy it. Dedicate a year to carbon copying it. I should be winning. I should be winning or placing. It's the same. It's just I just don't understand.
No. People have different aptitudes and talents.
I think there's a disservice being done. There's no way, because no one has a consistent person that they train with that performs at that level. Nobody. Like, even if you compare Mango playing with Alex, he's not consistent 6 down, or you compare anybody M2K plays with, if he plays with anybody. I don't even know if he plays with anybody, but no one has their partner that is consistent 6, 7, or 8. Just doesn't happen. It's weird.
They're all androids, Dave. They're not real people. That's
No,
why they're better than everybody.
I don't want to hear it. There's harder games out there, man. You try beating Silver Surfer on the Nintendo. Man, come see me. You know, nobody can beat that game. You know, but I'm serious. I think that there's a disservice being done. I don't know what it is. I'm not one of the best in the world in that in Melee, but I think there has to be something. Something is missing, and if
So
we're all here.
this is Papa Dave's call for all the good players to start helping everyone else more.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, not even helping somebody else. Like, you know, let's do something else at least for a tournament. Like, have somebody like put bounties on their head, do something. Because I think people just give up. People just give up. I see that fear. I see the fear when people are playing these players. Like, who gives a shit? I'm sorry, I didn't know if I could say that, but you know, the point is, who cares? Like, who cares? You're gonna get 4 stocks. Who cares? You're gonna lose. It's just a game. Have fun. Learn from it. But a lot of these players are just consistently always losing. Like, I don't know, personally, and I'll say it here first, my favorite player to watch is M2K any day. See that? M2K any day. Favorite player to watch. I love the cheese. I love the cheapness. I love the corny style. I love it. I love it with a passion. You know, and then, you know, when I see other players that, you know, they're doing well. Everyone is great. I'm not going to lie. They're all fantastic to watch. But I just think that, you know, it's a disservice. I remember playing people and me being not the best, and I'll play people that were not that good, you know, and I'll try to teach everybody. I'll teach people how to get out of things that I'm doing, you know, and I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe you guys know more than I do, but yes, to your point, I call on the top players to help people out. Get your guy, get your second in command good. It's the only way the game will continue, you know, like eventually everyone's going to stop, and then we're going to have a new 5 and a new 5 and a new 5, you know, like how is this going to happen if you don't take anybody under your wing, teach them, lose to them, and just, you know, move on.
Well, let's think about like 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we only had like the same people winning over and over. We had Ken, we had Azan, we had PC Chris winning all the time. You know what I mean? And who else was around? Like those were the kings, and they were dominating for a long time too. It's crazy to me that those people who were the kings of Smash 10 years ago, they don't place as well anymore. I don't know if it's because they're not keeping up with the meta. I'd like to see them really come back and take on the so-called gods of Smash. I'd really, because that would be something that would be amazing to watch.
The skill gap is way too large at this point. I see matches, and you know, listen, the skill gap. These guys are good, man. They're good. Arthritis is gonna happen. I'm telling you, carpal tunnel syndrome. It's coming. Smash carpal tunnel syndrome is gonna be listed as a side effect. Melee HD, carpal tunnel syndrome. I'm telling you, it's horrible.
Maybe that's the other thing, because like we have people like Hacks who are seriously like getting injured and they need surgery. Was there anything like that 10 years ago? I don't even remember. Maybe they're pushing themselves so much.
I don't even. Well, Hacks' hand had, you know, it didn't come from Smash. First of all, you know, but second of all, it's like, you know, I understand people are hurting themselves. Fine, but just like every other sport or every other activity, you have to take breaks. Your body comes first. I can't lift weights, you know, all day. That's just you being an idiot. You know, like you have to take care of your body. You can't just, you know, work out, you know, in this case, your fingers or your mind all day. First of all, you shouldn't be doing that anyway. There's other things out there. You know, Smash is a great, you know, form of meditation, and you can let it go and focus on something. It's great, you know, but you cannot say that, you know, you're here to play Smash for 10, 12 hours a day and expect your hands not to hurt. Like, I'm sorry, it's not rocket science. You know, you don't play Smash for that long. It's fun. Play for 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. Some tournaments you're playing all day, 8 hours, 10 hours. Fine. But if you're practicing at 24 hours a day or 16 hours a day, you have to, you know, I'll benefit what's happening, you know, to your body. And you're just gonna damage your hands for Smash Brothers. Just play Smash 4, man. That's it. If that's the case, just play Smash 4 if your hands hurt.
Yeah, one thing I want to hear you guys talk about is like back in the day, were there real rivalries? Like, what were the good storylines going down like the big beefs and like were there any
East Coast versus West Coast. Probably the biggest rivalry. That crew battle, I remember watching. You guys remember on the hub? That's how we used to get our videos back then, was to get everything on the hub. And I remember downloading. It was like, what, 3 hours long? And I remember watching that video. It was so hype. I think my favorite moment was it Kilo R who like rested someone so quick, like 6 seconds? He got I was like, oh, so hype. And I'd never seen anything like that. And that's probably what inspired me to create a crew. Was because, man, I want to have like crew battles with other people and like get together with like other players, and we play together all the time. So yeah, that's probably one of the biggest rivalries. That's always been a big rivalry, East Coast versus West Coast. Even like that whole moment with Chillin and Ken video, they did a whole documentary back then. I'm sure they showed it in Smash documentary. I don't remember, but there was a video that they released of Ken and all the West Coast players traveling to, I think, Maryland, Virginia. I forget where it was. I wasn't really around it. That was when I was watching and getting into Smash and wanting to be part of the community.
Was that in 2004?
Yeah,
Maybe.
that was Turn and Go.
That was
Yeah,
Game
there
Over,
we
right?
go. Yeah, Game Over. That was. And that's actually what got me really going into the Smash 4 community. Not Smash 4 community, but the Melee community. And just there were definitely big rivalries just between Ken and Isaiah and PC Chris and Az and just all the top ones for sure. Those are the main rivalries I can think of. I'm sure. I don't know if Zhang or Dave can remember, or Joe.
Prior to that, I guess prior to those years, like for instance, Tournament Go, that was actually the second time Ken and Isaiah came to the West Coast. I mean, to the East Coast from the West Coast. The first time they came actually for a tournament in Massachusetts. And we went to Fall River, and it was actually hosted by Crazy Jones and Hayato.
That's them, yes.
Oh, Hayato! Oh my God!
You guys call them the Ninja Turtles, right?
The Ninja Turtles, yeah.
Joe, that's the tournament you mentioned earlier, right?
Yeah, that's the tournament I couldn't remember before, and I was telling them that. Remember you were bodying people that whole tournament, Dave.
Yeah.
You were set to go up against Ken. And I remember you were all like, let's go get something to eat. We all got something to eat, and then we came back and you had to fight Ken. And I believe you lost to him that time. And I remember you being real pissed about that.
That was, because the reason I was upset was because I had beaten him in the winner's bracket. Yeah, and it was the first time, I guess, somebody from the East Coast had beaten Ken, or period, someone beating him. And I remember I was a little nervous. I was shaking in my boots. I had to fight Isaiah next round, and Isaiah had beaten me clean, right? I guess he beat me. I played him versus Captain first, and he won, but it was very close. And then he just pulled out a Sheik, and back then we really didn't have a Sheik on the East Coast like that, and he just completely obliterated me. So going back to fight Ken, I was a little nervous. To your point, I wanted to eat. I was starving, and he did come back and he won straight. So it was something that I could say it put me on the map, at least as a threat for the East Coast. It made them want to come back. I did keep in very close contact with Ken after that, and Isaiah. I made trips out there as well. But after when they came back for Tournament Go, they had already understood that East Coast was a lot more campier than the West Coast, because prior to that was TG3, and I actually bought the DVD. I was watching it with Wes and everybody. We were all watching it together, seeing how Ken was maneuvering around with items, seeing the Sultan of Samitude, Sam, playing with his Falco, how the styles differed. He wasn't big on lasering at all. His combo game was very different. He was more of an tilting Falco, and I had already, mastered short hop lasering as well as, some shine combos. I knew I was going to have to face him, and at Tournament Go, I did do very well that tournament. Beat a lot of great people. I think I ended up, like fourth. I know I was like top 5 definitely. And I had to fight Ken again. But again, that tournament, we ended up finishing it in Azen's apartment at the time, because we got kicked out.
There was like 30 people.
It was like 40 people in the apartment.
Lemonade and stuff too.
You got 4th, Dave.
Oh, I did. I got 4th, and it was like 40 people in like an apartment. The tournament ended at like 5 in the morning. Sun was coming up. You know, I'm telling you, it was a horrible tournament. But that's one of the other times, you know, I guess I got to hang out with H2IL and a lot of other people. But prior to that, like I said, as far as rivalries, it was a lot of times it was definitely DA. DA was traveling everywhere. Nobody was doing it. We were
Yeah,
going,
Dave.
yeah.
Can you talk about the DA H2YL rivalry?
Yeah, sure, yeah. Like that all started. That's Wes started that. Wes was he was actually arguing with another Samus player, and he just
Titanic, right?
Yeah, Jay Tannick, and he just I don't know. Wes just said, "Yo, there's some guys down from Maryland. There's a $10 bus that's gonna get us there. You'll be home, and your mom's not gonna know anything." Liar! I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, what a liar. So I was like, all right, let's all go. We all went down there. One time.
I drove you.
Yeah, yeah. Who's that? Brandon?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We all went down there, and, you know, we got mollywopped, you know, by Azen. I think it was only me that beat everybody. H2IL was taking records and logs of everything. Brandon actually almost killed us coming back. He fell asleep on the road.
That was New York.
Oh, all right.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, but otherwise, like it was just a lot of hip hop battles. I would make a lot of rap songs about H2IL. They'll come back and they'll make songs about us.
We have to hear one now.
Oh man, trust me, I don't even know. Like I don't even know how it used to be. Let's see. I remember Mild. You know, Mild is Chillin's brother, and I had said that. Hold on. I forgot what I said. I don't even know. I don't even know. I know I said that his character looks like an NYC dude. You know? I forgot what I said, you know, but the point is that I was making a lot of rap songs about all of them. They will come back. They'll write something back. And I will call them farmers. We will always blow up on each other on the boards. The first time I met Azen was in a hotel room. This guy had a sticker on his forehead. I swear to you, he had a sticker, just like a piece of tape on his forehead, and he wrote Azen backwards. That's him. Yes, he did. He had that. Yes, he did. That was in a tournament in Rochester where he played Zelda the entire tournament. He played Zelda.
Did he get like second? Did he win, or did he get like second?
No, he didn't win.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't win.
He didn't?
No, Wes and Kamal eliminated him.
Oh, you're right. You are correct. You're correct. You're right.
Because he refused to switch to Sheik.
I remember you guys all like.
It wasn't enough just to win. He had to win with Zelda.
Yeah.
People know Zelda was the worst back then.
People knew she was terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But listen, he beat me with Pichu that day. You know, he did. He never let me live it down. He never let me live it down ever. It's the first time I've ever seen somebody just camping the ledge and gimping somebody. I never saw that. I thought people fought, and he would just stay on the ledge and throw me off, and I will die. That's it. That was the game. But like otherwise, it was just a lot of beef online, and you know the trip was so convenient. 4 hours either way. We'll just go, or they'll come up to us. We started holding tournaments of our own. I know I started the Smash for Cash series in New York, and it was very, very fun. We got a lot of buy-in from the West Coast and from the South. A lot of people were always willing to help. I thought it was great for the New York City community. Well, you know, after we had like a fallout with the location, because they really didn't expect us to have those numbers. So I had bargains, you know, obviously. They made the deal with the devil. And I just told them that I'd give them about $200 or something like that. These guys are used to just throwing like Magic tournaments for like prize popping like $10, $20. That's it. That's all you'll get if you win. And I introduced, I felt like this. We're in New York. All of us are broke. None of us have a job. And we all have $20 to watch a movie, right? Everyone watches movies. So I'm like, you know what? You go to a tournament for 3 hours or to a movie for 3 hours. You pay $20. It comes out of your pocket. That's it. Ticket and food, $20. And the movie sucks all the time. So I'm like, you know what? $20. $20 to enter these Smash tournaments. And that's just what it's going to be. And believe it or not, everybody paid. Everybody paid. The demand was there. So everybody paid $20. Little kids, hacks, baby hacks, 11 years old coming in, $20. So the place, they didn't like that. Us holding the tournament, we'll walk away with some cash, or these prize pools were great, and they were really getting a crappy end of the stick. So the fallout came. Greed got involved, and I stopped hosting Smash for Cash tournaments. But at that point, I felt like the community was doing well. It was thriving. Other people were hosting tournaments in New York and New Jersey. Waz's tournaments were great. So I thought that there really wasn't a need, but not having a New York tournament, and I see this every day in the fighting game community. I don't only play Smash; I play all fighting games, and I see it. There's New York doesn't have anything. New York doesn't have like a New York City, Manhattan major for everything. They don't. It just doesn't exist, and I think it's crucial. I think those things are crucial. But unfortunately, we just don't have it. I know we can't blame it on anything. The closest thing I've seen is I know Bum hosts his events, and I know that Nebulous is there, but there's nothing that has been just a giant major, a New York City major that hosts everything. Prime NYC, let's rent a ballroom, Pennsylvania Avenue. It just doesn't happen here.
Just want to mention real quick, I think Smash for Cash, it was one of the first New York tournaments I went to. And that's actually, I think that's where I met you, Dave. But I also met Isaiah for the first time, and he was actually my first round pools. I remember he decimated me on Yoshi's Story with his Captain Falcon. So flashy, too. Didn't even break a sweat. He was just like, yeah. And I was just like, oh my God. Got rocked so hard. But those were fun, man. Smash for Cash. Those were good memories too. I remember them. Someone broke out a deck of cards. I remember, wow, they're just playing decks of cards. I think Azin and Isaiah Chillin was there too. I think they were playing with a deck of cards. I was just like, what the hell? We're just chilling.
I don't think that buy-in would have ever happened. That buy-in would have never happened if we didn't travel. Like it was always like DA, Wes, Hain, my G. They all took a 4-day bus to go to California. Last minute they did it. To represent New York. No reason. Price power was what? $200, $300 they're gonna take home. It doesn't matter. It was just to do it for the love of the game. That's really it. And I know I've met some great people. I've had some long-lasting relationships with people. I feel like some of them are going to be infinite. And the fact is that I just hope that the community doesn't change. As far as that's concerned, because I do see a lack of growth in the New York department. And not only to prevent Cali from always being better than the East Coast, but also just to maintain it or to grow it. I know that there's been recent developments of, I guess, lagless Melee on the Dolphin builds, with HD TVs. We don't know if maybe what was deterring us or holding us back was bringing TVs to venues or lack of supplies. Maybe in the future, that won't be the case. But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we're like more locally. Were there any between NJ and New York? Were there personal rivalries aside from big East Coast, West Coast?
There was some rivalry between TSA and Inui's crew. What was Inui's crew again? I don't know. It was Inui, Lord Knight, Spammerer, Atomisk. They were all in there. So it was kind of between us and them. But I don't know. Atomisk wasn't that good at Melee, really. Spammerer and Lord Knight were. And Inui was good, but Inui liked to talk a lot of shit.
What year was this?
It's just the era when we first started, from between 06 to 08. While we were around, they were around. I think even in a TSA thread, the very first post, I'm looking at it right now just for reference. The very first post is from Inui. Yo, hey Waz, want to have a crew battle? THP, yeah, THP was the name of their crew. I forget what that stands for. Can you remind me? THP? It's Inui's crew. I don't remember. He's banned. I just realized that.
Yeah, that thread somewhere. That's really cool.
Link that thread in the chat if you can.
Also, there was Zang. You had a crew. Oh, Zang's not even in here anymore.
Yeah, he had to go.
Zang had a crew called the Human Stampede, and I actually met Zang when I was coming back, because I was like 04 was when I first started, and 04 to 05 I was kind of training on my own, and then 06 is when I started breaking out again, and I met Emblem Lord, because it was one of those moments where all right, so there's Union County College nearby in Cranford, and one of my friends was like, hey, they're playing Smash over there, want to go own them? I was like, yeah, sure, okay. And then I go over there, of course I'm owning them, and I meet Emblem Lord, and I own him, and he's like, want to train? Yeah, sure. So Emblem Lord and I trained a lot, once a week, every Thursday. Emblem Lord tells me, oh yeah, I'm part of Zhang's crew. And then I start traveling with Emblem Lord. We went to Smash for Cash together. We actually teamed together for that tournament. We started going a lot around Wayne. We went to KOTC a lot. That's when TSA was really starting to join, and that was starting to get bigger and bigger. And let me see. Yes, I'm going to link the TSA thread here. TSA was amazing. It was one of my favorite times ever, and I met a lot of people. There's a lot of people in my crew. Let me go through the roster here really quick. So there's me. Copycat is the only active member I know in the East Coast that still plays. You guys know Copycat.
Yeah, Copycat's always been playing.
I don't know if you guys know Do Young too. Do Young came together with Cactuar to a KOTC. They came together. And the next day, they came over to a TSA meeting, and then the both of them joined the crew, so that was cool. I used to four-stock Cactuar, and that was amazing. And I did that in tournament. We went to a local tournament somewhere up in North Jersey, I forget. And Sensei was there, I was there, Do Young was there, and it was a crazy moment because we went through the bracket, and I think Sensei four-stocked their top player, like they were all cheering on. Sensei's four-stocked him. Then in winners finals, Cactuar four-stock Sensei, and then in grand finals, I four-stock Cactuar. So it was just really funny. He used to play Marth back then, as you know, and then he started getting better. I think he really started getting good Cactuar when he started training with M2K a lot, and then he just blew up in skill level. Like I couldn't even catch up to him. So you guys know Sensei too?
Yeah, wait, was Sensei really nice back then?
Sensei was always
still good now. Or
Sensei. The running joke with Sensei is that he's unpredictable. He'll just do random shit. Like he'll play in a real tournament match as Captain Falcon out of nowhere. He'll just Falcon punch, and for some reason it hits. I don't know why, and maybe that's the unpredictableness. But yeah, he was pretty good back then too. You guys know Raptor Hawk, who's actually in the chat. Hey, Raptor Hawk. He was at TSA. And then a lot of people like Scar. Okay, so Scar, TSA was his first crew. I remember because there's Pac-Man on crack. You guys remember Pac-Man? He brought Scar over, and he was so nervous, and he didn't know how to play. But we were really cool with him. We were really chill. We brought him to FC, one of the FCs. That was his first major tournament. Did terrible. We all traveled together. I think, Dave, you were part of that trip. Yo, that car ride was horrible. I remember that because I had to bring my Ultima. Do you remember how scrunched up we were in the back seat?
I remember, man.
And then Copycat, I'm so mad at Copycat still because he was the dude that would sit in the back with the rest of us, but he would open his legs like this. We need to talk about road trips. He would open his legs and we're like, Copycat, can you like just close your legs a little bit? He's like, oh, but it's so tight and uncomfortable. I was like, yeah, no shit, you're making it worse for everybody else. It was bad. And then Umbria Mao came with us. I have so many stories. I can't even get into it. But yeah, so there was Scar, and then I started inviting other people. Like Reno was part of TSA New York. I had like a New York branch at Reno. Vance was in it at one point. I had Brookman Court in Connecticut. Slick Vic, I think was part of New Jersey, and then he moved down. Do you guys know HBK? Of course you do. Heartbreak Kid.
Dude, I miss him, man. I wish he still played.
Yeah, I wish so too. Yeah, there was a lot of people in my crew.
Sneak, man. I remember Sneak was at the first tournament I went to. Dude is the homie.
Yo, Sneak was legit one of the first people who came up to us and was like, yo, can I audition for your crew? Because you had to play with us. And usually when I recruit people, I would go to tournaments. I mean, if you were just a cool guy, I would be like, hey, well, want to be part of TSA? He's like, sure, okay, you're part of TSA. And it just happened like that. And Sneak was one of the first people who legit asked, hey, I didn't know who he was. He just hit me up on Smashboards one day. Hey, I want to join your crew. And ever since then, I took that dude everywhere. And he was a really loyal member of TSA, and I still talk to him even now. He plays Street Fighter 5, and I fucks with him on Street Fighter 5. Excuse my language. I don't know if where's it? But yeah. So and I had like Velocity too. I don't know. There's just a lot of people in my crew. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the chat.
Added me
You
on
guys
Street
can
Fighter
see
5,
that.
guys.
What? Add you in Street Fighter 5? I thought you said that game was trash.
It is horrible, and I will show you why.
I'll add him
Momentum
too.
Fighter 5.
Yeah, teach me.
All right. I play Rashid. I don't know why.
That's already a mistake.
Yo,
I know.
Dawson, man. Dawson's the
I
god.
figured it out. You know what it is? You know how to get good as you age? You know how you get better at games? You start absorbing the fact that top tiers exist. And you only play top tier characters because you have to do the least amount to get the highest return. And that's it.
You know, it's funny. That's Emblem Lord's philosophy, and people gave him so much flack for it, but it's true.
It's the truth. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I cannot beat my son in WWE 2K16 when he picks John Cena. I can't beat him. I'm not joking. This is factual. I can't beat him.
Yeah, man. It's like Sanford Kelly says, pick a top tier.
That's it. Pick a top tier. It's over.
Yo,
Wait, man, you had Spammer in TSA too?
yeah.
No, well, actually, he's on here, but I think that was like late game when TSA was kind of falling out anyway, because he was part of Inui's crew, and then I think they had some kind of falling out. So I was like, sure, but I think it was around the time when Brawl was starting, and he just, it wasn't that active then.
Yeah.
Can we get I guess all your guys' first experiences with Mewtwo King? Because you all started around when he did.
Oh, that'll be me, because I am the first
let's hear
person who
about
has.
this.
I swear to God, I must be the first person who has ever met Mewtwo King. Me and Ryoko Yakuza. Do you guys? I know Suicidefox. Yeah, you remember Ryoko? Yeah. So I don't remember what it was, but M2K came over to some guy.
I just hung out with Ryoko 2 days ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that dude. I mean,
Still
we
friends with Megan.
all the time.
James,
Really?
the dude with the long hair? He was at
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So Ryoko and I went to like Drew University. That's where I think I met Mewtwo King for the first time. I forgot, in someone's dorm. And I think we were talking on GameFAQs before that. But Mewtwo King at the time, so this was around 2004, 2005. And so we were just playing Melee, and then I was messing around, so I was playing Falco, and then he picked Peach. And I remember I just kept lasering him, because that's what you do with Falco, you laser. And then he was like, "Whoa, Waz, you're so good!" And then he'd go in GameFAQs, and he made a thread about it, like, "Waz's lasers are so good," because he was like that. He wasn't that great back then. In fact, he was terrible. He was so amazed at the basic shit that I was doing then, and he couldn't believe I'm pretty sure M2K mentioned he's never played anyone before. But the one thing I noticed about M2K when I first met him is that he is stupid analytical. Like, he would watch the way I play, and then he would do a thing where he would pause it to catch the frames, and then it's like in his head he just calculates it. So even then, even though people call M2K a robot now, like when I first met him, that's how I really felt about him. Like, and it wasn't because he wasn't human or anything. It was just the really interesting way that he calculated frames and everything like that. And the one other thing I remember about M2K is that he took the train home, and he didn't get home until like 3 or 5 hours later, because he got lost or something. And then I had to talk to his mom on the cell phone to try to get him home. And we were like, "Who is this kid? Oh my God, this Jason kid who just like so awkward. It must be something wrong with him." Like I'm just thinking about remember what was wrong with him, but I had no idea he would become the monster that he is now. Like, that kid was just, I can't believe that he's huge now. And I'm proud of him. Because he's come a long way. Even when I came back in 06, in 04, 06, yeah, and then I met up with him again. And he was still kind of awkward, but the way he is now, he's definitely a lot better socially. He's better to talk to, even though he's a little weird. Like, I had a Smash Cooker a few years back, and he didn't have housing, so I had him over here. And I was playing Final Fantasy 15, and he just wanted to lay in my bed and watch me. So he still had like really weird quirks like that, because I'm like, dude, get the fuck off my bed. He's all laid all over it. But yeah. If you talk to M2K, I think even when they did the M2K documentary, they had me on an interview to talk about him. And I guess it's just amazing how far he's come. I guess is where I want to end that off.
So I got a really good story about M2K. It's the very first time I met him was when he came to his first tournament, which was King of the Couch that I was hosting, and I'm sorry, Jason, I'm putting this out there. He got bodied by Wes using he was playing, M2K was playing Sheik, and Wes did the extended grapple chain grab on him. Like, you guys know what extended grapple is, right? He chain grabbed him on Fountain of Dreams. Oh, man, and he just bodied him. I had it on tape, but unfortunately that tape is lost to time. I don't know what happened to it. But I remember, like, he was driving me nuts that first tournament. He kept asking when he was going to play, who he was going to play. He was so excited to be there to play. And he was like completely up my ass. Like, when do I play? When do I play? When do I play? I'm like, dude, sit, chill. I'll tell you when you play. And yeah, one of his first like life lessons in Smash was definitely that encounter with Wes. And since then, you know, like Vaz was saying, it's just amazing how much better he got. You know, if he was a speak and spell back then, calculating frames and everything, he's like HAL 9000 now. And Jason, if you're listening to this, what was it, Evo 2014 when he was in the finals and he was trying to ledge cancel his Sheik? Jason, I want to smack you for that, man. You can't be doing stuff like that. You got to play smart, man. He's so much better than that. Like he was. I don't know why he did that.
It's a safe place. He reverts to that when he's trying to think about what to do.
Yeah. That's the one thing I noticed with M2K is like he has a very like calculated way of the way the game goes, and the people that generally beat him are the ones that mess with that. So. You know, that was always something for him to overcome, but he...
I think, did he just cut out? Oh, no.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love to reconnect with Ryoko, because I was really close with him back then, and then I don't know how we fell out, but...
We're just chilling.
It was Suicidefox.
Yeah, I was telling a story.
Sandwich? Do it. Let's talk about my sandwich.
Yeah, we didn't talk about anything that should be on stream.
Okay, yeah, let's finish Suicide Fox's story then.
So, let's see. Alright, I'll just start from the beginning. So, I first met Jason at King of the Couch that I was hosting in New Jersey. It was at a VFW hall, and I remember him driving me absolutely nuts the entire tournament, asking when I'm going to play, when I'm going to play, when I'm going to play. And one of his first life lessons in Melee was to get chain grabbed by Wes's Samus with the homing grapple on the chain grab. And he just, like, he was such a noob back then. I'm sorry, Jason. He was such a noob, and he fell for that so hard. But he came back, and he got so much better. What was the other thing I did before the stream job? Oh, yeah, I called out to Jason to stop doing stupid bullshit in the middle of a tournament. Dude, you're better than that. You can beat, like, most of these people. Just stay focused. Stop doing the super safe stuff and do the stuff you're known for, man. Do the stuff that you just body people for. I think that was it. When the extreme crash, I don't know if there was any other points I made. Maybe?
That's a pretty good point, I guess. So, I mean, you guys had the same opinion of Mewtwo King when you met him. He was
He was terrible.
He was horrible, and he was kind of annoying. But he was also charming in a way. He was kind of like a little lost puppy. Like, you felt bad for him almost, and you're like, oh, Jason. And then he just became a monster.
Yeah, puppy is a really good way to describe it, because he was also really excited. Because like I said, when I was playing Falco, I was doing really basic stuff, just lasers, and he was so excited watching that, and it was happening to him, you know. Because and then I wish I was around in the time when he was growing, because crap, look at him now.
But you would say, like, you could tell immediately playing him that he definitely wanted to be the best or to get very good at the game. Like, that was always his goal.
Oh, yeah. He definitely worked at it. Because he came into the game as the noobiest noob that ever noobed anything. Like, that's how he was. And now he's one of the best players in the game. It just proves that if you have the dedication to really like learn the game and put in the time to do all that, you can get as good as him. That's how he did it. He started from the bottom.
Yeah, and just to comment on that, I think it's definitely the way he processed information too. Like every time he played him, he always kind of stored that in the back of his mind, and then he tests a lot of stuff out. Even today, he'll test a lot of stuff out. And he was very big on frame data. Like before Smash, I don't know if you guys know. I think you guys mentioned this another one. He did a lot of Halo stuff,
yeah.
and he had a website, and I remember looking into that too. And he just loved looking into frames, but the fact that he took that information and then applied it, I don't know a lot of people that can take that information and actually apply it onto themselves and then become where they are now. Like usually people are just information givers and they give out the information and other people will take the data and apply it. But he took the data and it's like he absorbed it into himself.
Yeah.
And then he became the very best that no one ever was.
And if you look at, he has his info dump come out a whole year before he even goes to that first local, and then he goes to the regional in MDVA the next month or something like that, where everyone starts hearing about him.
Did anyone else hear that he collected his frame data by actually pausing the game and drawing each individual frame?
I mentioned that in my story. He would just keep pausing it, and I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm looking at the frame data." Yeah.
And at the time, okay, so Steve, or Neo Cyrix, knew this at the time, and he was also collecting frame data, but his method for doing it was to use a VCR and just record and then go through slow motion, study it. And he told me not to tell him U2K. Just let him collect his frame data by drawing it.
Oh, that's horrible.
Because
he was grimy like that. He'd be
Never
like, don't
told
tell people
Look
that.
at the difference. College.
Why? He's like, just don't tell people that.
That was the community back then. People didn't share information with each other. It really was. Unless you were in the know and you were cool with people. Like there were things I didn't know until I was cool with Isaiah and he came over to our house and he showed me how to do like light shield drop and I was like, what is this light shield drop? What the hell is this? So yeah. People back then did not share as much information as they do now. In fact, I think M2K shares the most information these days out of anybody.
Look at that. And that goes back to exactly what I'm saying. Look at that. Why is everything just not out there? Open source this. Let everybody know everything.
Well, now it is like that a lot more.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's trying to put the information out there, and there's all these players trying to become streamers and shit, and they get views by sharing information, like trying to help people. So now it's easy for players to get better because there's so much information.
Yeah, Chris asked the question, how are things different now? And I would say that tech skill actually meant something back then. Like if you could do technical things, if an opponent could do technical things, you had to be at least I had to be concerned about them. Now, because somebody knows tech skill, that doesn't mean anything anymore. Like you could still body them in a match.
And is that just knowing how to play the game, or just because everyone's tech skill level is up? The average is way higher than it used to be.
Yeah, I think the average is way higher, but people don't know how to play the game. Like they're lacking in fundamentals.
I agree, because I'm net play champion over here. That is true. You play on net play, you go play somebody who's platinum or master ranked, and they get bodied. And I'm like, damn, I don't even play this game.
Yeah, it didn't used to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Just having tech skill meant something.
Yeah, I think now the emphasis for the meta is more like on tech skill than being a good player. So like people coming into it just focus on that. Whereas like back in the day, players tried to actually play the game well.
Mind games. Yeah, mind games was like huge factor back then that people encouraged.
Would you say it's an East Coast thing to be so heavy on the tech skill and maybe not so much in the mind games then?
No.
Okay.
Not at all. I think that's just the way the game has evolved because the game, it evolved. So at this point, it's more of a punish game. So now, yes, when you hit somebody, they should die. I tried coming back a few years ago to go talk back to M2K. And, I was playing in M2K's house with him. And he said he kept bodying me. And I mean, like, destroying me. 4-stock. And I asked him, what am I doing wrong? He goes, when you hit me, I should die. That's what he said. When you hit me, I should die. So the game evolved. It definitely did. So I think it's just you really can't compare the two. Yeah, back then, also the skill gap was a lot larger than what it is now. Because I feel like now it's you have your one percenters, and then you have everybody else. It's not as it's not as diverse as there used to be. Before you had a lot of people in the mean of like 80, then you had people in the mean of like 20. Out of 100. Then you had your 100, of course, your stars. But that's really what it was.
Can you talk about maybe other things that have changed since then? Maybe.
So
You said it wasn't chill anymore. That was one thing.
Yeah, I think it's because people have a more play to win mindset instead of a play to just play. Like Dave was saying earlier, I used to have a motto back then: just smash for fun. I used to just tell people, and that's why we were always chill with each other. I did a money match with G-Reg years ago in '06 when I first met him. But even I remember a point where he was playing, he suicided, and even though it was a money match, I was like, oh, that's not cool. So I suicided. I SD'd because he SD'd at 0. So I was like, and he was like, yeah, man, you're chill. And then we pounded after that, and we were just really cool after that. It was all about just being really cool with everybody. And these days, I don't know. Like, I go on YouTube and I see what people say, and people like talk shit so much. Like, talking shit is cool, but like, it's like the opinion. It's like, who are you? It's like, I hate to put this out because there's a bad rep, but like, Smash documentary people, I'm glad that it blew up the community really well, but I feel like it just brought in like this weird. Like, it just doesn't feel like the same community like that it was 10 years ago. So for me, at least, for me, it's just people are just so much more. I don't even know the word I want to say. Opinionated in a negative way. You know what I mean? People just think they know everything, kind of thing.
yeah, I got a point to make about that. Like, I mean, I'm not really in the scene right now, but I still kind of hang around the edges, watching Evo, and sometimes I go to Smash Boards, don't sign in, just look at some stuff that's going on just to see what's happening. And one thing I noticed, I think I said this earlier, was that it's just the scope of everything. Because back then, everything was local. Everything was like, if you didn't live within like an hour's worth drive of the person, it was kind of like it didn't happen, kind of thing. And if you didn't go to this tournament, that was the only tournament happening for the whole month. That was like the big tournament. And it was like everybody knew everybody. It was everything was small back then. Now everything's big. You have YouTube, you have Twitch, you have all this stuff that didn't exist back then. It's so much easier for the new people to come in, but now it's like the community's like overgrown itself, and it's just huge now. It's global, And that, for me, that's what it seems to change the most. Is just it went from that local feeling to that global feeling, and it's different. I'm not saying it's necessarily bad because it's great that Smash is getting the press it's getting. It's good that Smash 4 is making a comeback because Brawl was. Ugh. So that sort of thing is good. Just, you guys are kind of unfortunate in a way to be leaving in this time because you don't get to experience that local feeling that we all got, like, in the beginnings of it.
Yeah, it's definitely a different local feeling.
Yeah, it's kind of like a sad tragedy. Like, you guys get all this awesome, great stuff, but then you miss out on some of the really awesome moments that were generated.
Yeah. The whole thing, like Smash, now the community and everything, it feels a lot less like personal.
It is completely. You're completely correct. I don't believe it's personal at all anymore. You can't even walk into a venue without paying $40. Or like you can't really. It's hard to even. But times have changed too. Think about it. I went to my first tournament. I went to California. No, where is that? No, I went to a tournament and I was super young. Super young. Took a $10 bus to Boston. Like you can't do that anymore. Times have changed too, and a lot of little kids getting into the scene, or even some people like I'm sorry to say, but I have my place. And I don't want to house anybody. I know this sounds terrible, but I don't want to house anybody. Like I'm saying, I have a son. I have a son. He has a room. He's 8 years old. You think I want somebody to come and... No, I don't want that. It's just what it is. the fact is that times are different now. So with
People
time,
were definitely a lot cooler with housing people back then. Like you were like, yo, you want to stay at my house with a tournament
yeah,
over there? Like, yeah. These days, it's you never know who's gonna stay with you.
you're correct, and you're correct. You're correct. I'm not really. I don't know. I just don't think that. I think that the times have changed completely, and it is not at all local anymore. It's super not grassroots as much as they want to call it that. It's just not. I think there's a lot of characters that I already, spoke my displeasure on a lot of them that they wouldn't even play you. They won't play you at a tournament. Like you can't go anywhere. The only person that I played with in tournaments, already after post retirement was M2K, but like because I know him, he just sat down, and Hungry Box played me as well at Apex. He actually came up to me to play. But as far as everybody else, it's like they sit in their corner. They remind me of certain people in the FGC, that wear the letter ENG, like this.
I think
That crew, it's like it's the same thing. Like I've been there. I grew up with these people. I've been playing Street Fighter since forever. Street Fighter 2, Chinatown Fair. I know them all. I grew up with all of them, and it's just sad nowadays to see somebody really at the point of they don't even want to play you in a video game for a match. Like who cares? Again, I think the difference between it being grassroots and it being pro is that you remove the fun from it. Like who cares? I want to lose too. I want to laugh. Make jokes, have a good time. It's a game first, and
Play to win mentality.
The play to win mentality, absolutely. Play to win mentality, and that's what happens. What happens with that? It comes people discover broken tactics. Then you have to discuss whether to ban a tactic, whether to leave a tactic in. But, just let everything roll. Let it all rock, man. Let it all rock. One of the reasons I love Smash. No patches. I can't play any game because I play them. I get great. You devote time and hours and sweat into a video game, and what happens? They patch it. Everything you worked on, you can't do it anymore. So that, to me at least, that makes me not want to practice anything. And that makes me want to wait until the M2Ks release their broken tactic. I'll do that broken tactic for 3 months. Then after that passes and they patch it, what is the next broken tactic? Okay, I'll do that for 3 months. Because I'm not going to waste my time practicing the game anymore.
Right, another thing I wanted to mention with Waz's story about like playing, I forgot he mentioned that you played and you gave him like the gentleman's stock with ASD, is that yesterday or 2 days ago at DreamHack, like people have pretty much stopped doing that, but U2 played Mango in a set, and there were like 2 times where Mango SD'd, and M2K gave him like the gentleman's stock, like M2K
Right.
it out, and like the commentators were even like blowing him up, like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, don't do this anymore. But, like, it's cool to see that because that just shows that like.
And he only did it.
It's just like playing.
At the end of the day, you just gotta remember, man. Like we're all smashers at the end, and we just gotta be really cool with each other. I don't know. I like playing honorable like that. Not. I know like the way M2K plays is really gimpy. That's why I kind of didn't like him at first. It's like, oh, dude, that's so nasty. What the hell? But at the same time, it's mad cool because he just kills you that fast. But yeah, man, it's all about just like. It's always been about community with me, and you do that by just, playing with people a lot and having fun with it. Like Dave said, I feel like that is missing a lot maybe these days, or just people who weren't part of the community years ago who are just coming in and they just talk shit and like, whatever, man, I'm going to be the best and kick all your asses, and I don't know. But that's pretty cool that MTK did that. I didn't know he did that.
He did do that. I saw it too. It was pretty good. I would have.
It warms your heart to see that shit go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to offer a different perspective. I'm in the Princeton area, and I actually think we have a great local scene. We've got the Jersey Japes every Saturday. It's just we have regulars. It's I don't know. I go just about every Saturday, and
yeah, that is
it's real cool.
And they have like festival time.
Shout out to NJ's finest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Carl.
Let me see if
TC.
Carl's around. We'll try to get him in here. But I think it is just a difference in how the local scene works. Now it's much more the local scene works together to get their 1 or 2 good players out of that local scene. Maybe back then it was more about, mutually helping each other, individuals.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I kind of look at Jersey Japes as funding TC to go to Nebs,
Yeah,
so he can get better.
And he never goes to Nebs.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
Good. Yeah,
He's got a
get
few
Sis
times,
out
but
to
yeah.
Nebs.
Trying to put the pressure on him.
I'm gonna check if Carl's around fast so we can stop in and say hi to you guys. It's been 2 hours. I can stay on a bit more, but if anyone else has to take off, thanks for all your time. We can talk about other stuff though. We talked about your guys all start, all the changes you've seen since then. What's kept you coming back? Maybe stuff. I don't know. More stories about Mewtwo King or old school players. Hack stories.
Yeah, always hearing anything about like the evolution of the NJ scene or like rivalries.
Yeah.
Hacks.
How
You
about
say a
you,
hack
Swedish
story?
Delight, or
I
anyone
got
else?
Yeah, everybody's got hack stories about. No, Dave, go ahead. You start. You look excited to talk about hacks. Go ahead.
So hacks featuring a cameo by PC Chris. There was actually a tournament at Web2 Zone, and I know I had to play hacks, and hacks was actually doing pretty good at the time. He was doing pretty good, and he was with his Captain Falcon, still very young, baby hacks, right? And I camped him the entire time. He got the stocks off quick, and when I mean I camped him, I ran time on him. I ran out time on him twice. And he just couldn't believe it. His face was shocked. He won the first game doing his hack stuff, and I just camped him completely. That PC Chris couldn't believe it. He's like, "You camped a little kid? You camped a little kid?" He couldn't believe me. He kept saying that. I'm like, "Yeah, I camped him. I don't care. He picked Falcon." So PC Chris picks Falcon and embarrasses me in the zone. That's how it ended.
The one thing I always just remembered about hacks, the first time I met him, just like Dave said, he was like baby hacks, right? It was always him and J-Man together. I remember the first time I played hacks, he was like, "Oh my god, you guys play Smash?" And he played like Luigi, I think. I don't know. He played like Mario and Luigi or some shit with J-Man, and we were just messing around. And at the time, I was playing Fox, learning how to like infinite drill shine into a wall. So we picked Peach's Castle, and I just infinite drill shined them into the middle of the wall back when Peach's Castle used to be legal. I was just thinking about how the stages back then look different now than they were back then. We used to have all sorts of weird stages, like Corneria used to be up. What was that? What's that one stage? Samus's stage from Metroid with the lava coming up. For some reason, that stage was Brinstar. That stage was legal for some reason. And Jigglypuff's used to be, but we didn't used to think, "Oh man, I was unfair." The lava. We used to think, "Okay, Jigglypuff's gonna counterpick there because she has the advantage." I think that's the other mindset too. I don't know. People focus so much on stages, and like, I went from a completely different topic from hacks to like stages, but I just remember thinking that Peach's Castle. But yeah, I used to infinite drill shine them a lot. I like to show off in tournaments. I like to show off TecZero back then. Like I said, I did short hot double laser, and I'd be like with the X button, power shielding. When M2K taught me how to use light shield on Marth recovering to grab the ledge.
Right, the Marth killer.
Yeah, M2K taught me that, and I use that a lot. I'm just trying to think things that were different back then that are different now.
I think Dave's gonna say he has to take off right now.
Yeah, guys, I gotta go, man. It's been a pleasure.
Dave.
Have fun, keep smashing.
No, it's
Let
great.
me know
Thanks
if
for
you guys
stopping in.
See you, Dave.
From you, man.
All right, man, take it easy.
Yeah, we'll see you at another one maybe.
All right.
All right. Carl may stop in briefly, but yeah, we could just talk about whatever.
Can I just say that, Joe, since you're here, the reason I learned how to TO was because of Joe, Suicidefox. He ran his KOTCs. But then I in some of them, eventually I started helping him, and he taught me how to make brackets. And so I always wanted to tell you that, Joe. I thank you so much for teaching me how to manually do brackets on paper. Because I think that's important to know how to do that on paper. It's like people these days who use GPS but don't know how to read a map. You got to know how the brackets work on paper before you use something like challenge or TO. And I'm glad. I feel like I know that because I learned that from Suicidefox. I just shout outs to you, dude. Thanks so much for that.
Oh, well, you're quite welcome. And yeah, I totally agree. You know, it's kind of like nowadays. Back when I was growing up, you had to memorize a phone number. get it tattooed on the back of your hand or something. But now it's like I don't know the phone numbers of like 99% of the people I ever meet because it just gets put in my phone and then that's it. I know my home phone number and that's it. And that's kind of I kind of self-taught myself a lot of that stuff, just reading what I could and trying to organize stuff in certain ways. I wanted to be consistent when I would do TOing. I just wanted to always do the tournament as efficiently as possible because time is a factor. So it's something that going from like a player to the TO like early on and experiencing that early on, that was like my big takeaway is that as a player you have a totally different experience to a tournament than someone who's organizing it. As a player you're sitting there, well, when am I going to play? What's this going on? What do I do here? As a TO you're trying to think, oh, how do I manage where all these people are going? How do I manage the time? How do I know how much time it's going to take for X match to finish? Who do I put up next? You have to be able to command people. I think that was something I also taught you was you have to don't be sitting up there like, oh, could you please move to the back of the room? Blah blah blah. No, everybody get the fuck up.
Yeah,
the back of the room.
Tournament voice.
You gotta enunciate. You gotta make people move. I had a megaphone a lot, and that megaphone gave me a lot of authority. So if you
I just shouted.
Megaphone, piece of paper, something like that. You gotta command people. And yeah, that was a lot of stuff that I kind of taught myself, and I try to pass on the knowledge to Waz and to other people, and then even moving on into like other games and stuff. I try to pass that knowledge on because I think that that's important. I'm not just a Smash fan, I'm also a game fan, and I do a lot of stuff still in the esports. I try and be everywhere at once with the esports and shooting games, fighting games, I'm trying to get a little bit into like LoL and those kinds of games, but those games are very UI heavy and there's a lot going on. But so I'm glad that you were able to learn from me. I hope you're able to pass on the knowledge as well. And I want to be going too, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been trying to pass on things to like Copycat. Copycat's supposed to hold the Melee tournament because I'm not going to be able to make it. But most of TSA, like Scar started holding his tournaments, and he kind of named his first big tournament Smashpocalypse. It was kind of like an offshoot of Smashtality and Smashiker. Let's find like Smash and combine it with something destructive. So Smashpocalypse. So I kind of helped out with Scar, and anytime I ran a tournament, TSA was always there to help me out, and I always taught them what to do. And if it wasn't for TSA, shout out to, there's a guy in the chat, his name is X Turtles, that was Angel CX, and he had a LAN sitter up in Wayne called Cyber Connection. Rest in peace, Cyber Connection, because that's where TSA held most of their events, and the LAN center unfortunately had to shut down. But what do I want to say? It definitely was thanks to a lot of my crew members that helped me run the events. Like if I didn't have them, and hopefully they learned a few things from me too as I ran these events. I'm sure everyone had a great time. People always tell me, "Oh man, Smashtality, I remember that. Those were the best times ever." Alucard used to tell me. I heard NJ's Finest always like shouts me out. He's like, "Yo, I always talk about Waz." So that's good, man. That makes me feel good to be kind of remembered like that. I'd like to think that I had even Sneak used to tell me, "Waz, I'm surprised they didn't talk about you in the Smash documentary." I was like, I don't think I was that big, but I'm really happy that people have that impression of me, that I always wanted to teach people too how to get into the game and how to TO and how to do this and that. I even wrote an essay, I think, of how to shuffle. I think it's on GameFAQs somewhere. In GameFAQs they have that compendium of Smash knowledge, and I'm pretty sure if you look in there, you'll see something that I wrote about how to shuffle, short hop, fast volley. Yeah, shuffling. That used to be a big thing back then, and now it's just like,
it's like everyone.
Right, exactly.
So I gotta be going, but I want to make one more point.
Go ahead.
Kind of going back to what we were talking about before about some stuff that changed. So one thing I noticed, like watching past Evo, I think the past Evo 2015, right? They had one? Yeah. So watching Mango, he was using a few techniques that I actually was the first person to do in some tournaments. The shine smash and the shine grab. I saw him doing that, right? So, I was telling you guys earlier that Steve W did a lot of frame data stuff, and he figured out that you can grab directly out of a shine because you would cancel the shine with a jump and then cancel the jump with a grab. So you could go directly from shine into grab. And then I practiced that. I got good at doing it. But the problem was that the meta was not to that point yet. Like, I was doing stuff, people were getting hit by the shine and then, like, sliding away from me, and I was grabbing them. I was just swinging at the air. So to see that the meta has evolved to the point that some of the stuff I've discovered and people have discovered, like, way, way long ago, that everyone's like, oh, that's just a bunch of flashy nonsense. It's useless. Who cares? And now people are actually using it in the meta. It's just... That to me is like crazy mind-boggling. Like I can't even believe that that's happening. Yeah,
it's like one of those things where we found this really advanced stuff, but the world wasn't ready for it.
Yeah,
the world was not prepared to how to handle it. But now we're at that point.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
It all comes full circle.
Yeah. Well, it was good talking to you guys.
Thanks for being here, man.
I'll try and
Good to
get
see you
on
again, Joe.
Fox,
good
you're
seeing
taking off?
everybody.
Okay. I think Lord Knight is about to join and say hi.
Hey, Joe.
See you guys.
All right.
I might have to take off soon too.
No, it's all
Actually,
right. We've been here for a while.
yeah.
Well, before you dip, I want to ask you now. I've thought about it before. What was old school Scar like? Like now he's a big.
Old school Scar was more humble. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I
definitely
remember.
more humble because he was in a learning process and he was just like the rest of us. He's like, "Oh man, you're so cool, you're so amazing. Yeah, we're awesome." And he was, just like anyone who starts off in the game. He wasn't that great. He was super intimidated when we went to FC and he was really nervous. I remember that. But then, as time goes on, he started playing with Cactuar a lot. And Cactuar was getting good because of MTK. He was playing Pac-Man a lot. He came out with I Killed Mufasa. I'm actually in there as one of the foxes. He rocked.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I think it was the one where, I think he, Falcon kicked me, and then it led to a knee or something. I don't remember. It was on Pokemon Stadium. He Falcon kicked me. I landed on a platform, but I didn't tech. And then he either kneed me or he Falcon punched me out of it. I was like, why'd you put that in there? But he was definitely a lot more humble. But as he got more popular, he took on his personality. He's so electrifying. But it's nice to be remembered because every now and then I'll go into the Scar and Top show. And I'll be like, "Hey, Scar," and he'll like, "Oh, it's Waz." And it's so funny. Everyone's like, "Who's Waz? Who are you talking to? Who's Waz?" "Yo, it's Warrior of Zarona." So it's good. It's good to know that he'll do that for me. Just give me a quick little shout out because it's always nice to see someone who's. It's like one of those things where I feel like this is a weird comparison, but like Cars, right? The Pixar movie Cars. You have this Lightning McQueen guy, but he came out of humble beginnings. You know what I mean? I feel like a humble beginning kind of thing.
Yeah.
And now he's this big star or whatever, and everyone knows who he is. But one thing I remember about Scar, by the way, is that we once went over to his house, and dude lives in a freaking mansion. It was so huge. He had this big giant statue of a Black Panther in there. And I remember we wandered into his parents' bedroom, and the whole freaking closet was a whole room by itself, and I was amazed by that. Basement was where we all hung out, and it was huge, and I didn't know he lived like that. I did not know he lived like that, but he did. And I remember when he went to UPenn, he wanted to hold tournaments there. That's the whole Smash Apocalypse thing, and he showed me around and what his dream vision was. So he had a vision for sure about running tournaments, being really good at the game, and I'm glad it got him this far because he's definitely made well for himself. I don't care what you think about Scar because I know he might rub people off the wrong way, but he'll always be cool in my book, and I'm glad that he's being successful with Twitch and Smash, and we can thank him for helping to bring the community together with the Scar and Top show and trying to, he's trying to do a lot of things, trying to get Smash out there. So that's something I always appreciate about him. And I just always hope he remembers his humble beginnings.
His roots, yeah. He's definitely been he's such a positive influence in the scene now. Even with Evo, he got Melee into Evo partially. And all the great combo videos and shit. And do you remember Prague and D1 back in the day?
Yeah, of course. D1 I used to
I
hang out with
remember
a lot. I actually had a small rivalry with D1 because he played Fox back then and I played Fox. So I felt like he was like the New York Fox and I was like the Jersey Fox because I played Fox a lot. And we would play a lot of friendlies whenever I go to New York at Web 2 Zone or Gauntlet or but yeah, man, whenever I see D1 these days, it's always cool to see him around. Speaking of combo videos, here's a few old school combo videos. TecZero combos. I don't know if you remember TecZero. TecZero was the combo. You guys need to look that up. I think it's on YouTube. I'm going to look for the link. These were the combos. Remember, this era was like 2002,
Wait, are you talking about the
2003.
thing where it's like on CPUs and shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and even though it was on CPUs, it's like I'd never seen combos on Smash like that before, and that blew my mind. So there's TecZero combos, Punch Crew. I don't know if you guys know who Punch Crew is.
I don't remember.
Look up their combo videos because they made amazing combo videos that inspired me. And you guys know DBR, of course. You guys have to know DBR. Death
Yeah,
by
of
Rit,
course, man, yeah.
Shine Blind
Those
by
all
Zelgados.
that's like why I got into the
King.
game.
Yeah. I recommend all the newer people look up Punch Crew. They made amazing crew combo videos back then that inspired me and a bunch of people in my era because those are really cool. I don't even know if they have videos on YouTube because again we used to share videos through the hub or through like download sites. Man, I don't even know if they have anything.
I remember
Not
this
really.
TecZero combo video. This was like super back in the day, and he had wobbling in it. This is the guy that he was wobbling. Like he had wobbling in this, and this was like super early 2000s. That's just
Yeah, you think wobbling was invented by Wobbles? No, he applied it in tournament for sure, but wobbling was definitely something like the whole desync thing and everything. I wish I could look for like a good Punch Crew video, but I don't know if I can because there's like I'm googling Punch Crew and there's this other shit that's just coming out. Don't mess with the best combo king. I guess I don't remember if these were the ones, but Punch Crew was a big inspiration in terms of seeing what people could do in Smash. Of course, you know, it's back then, really old school, but also Super Doodle Man, I mentioned him before. He was one of the first few people who created entertaining TAS videos.
Yeah.
He did Perfect Control 2. I think he did another one.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, he did Adventure.
Which was that?
You know what I'm talking about?
That's great.
I used to whenever I held whenever I went to KOTC with Suicidefox, I always had a laptop with me, and Suicidefox would have a break in between because he would hold his KOTCs in a Bennigan's, like a legit Bennigan's restaurant. It was kind of weird, but that was the deal he had with KOTC and Rod, so they held it there, and they were required to have a break so that people can go buy the food. I think it was the deal with the restaurant, but during that break, I would put on Adventure by Super Doodle Man. If you've never seen that video, I can't find it on YouTube. I can't find the original version anymore. But try to look up Adventure by Super Doodle Man. That video, and so what it is Fox on the very hardest difficulty going through Adventure in TAS mode, rocking everything, and he had awesome music playing behind it, and it was a good way to do a 14-minute break to entertain people and watch that. So if you guys can find that, definitely look that up. That was a really classic video.
All right, it's in there.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
It's a good one. I love this.
Yeah, I was all about the combo videos back then. But I guess I'll leave it at that. If you guys want me again, let me know, and
No, this is
I'll
great.
be happy to
Yeah,
come
thanks.
back.
We'll definitely talk on
Thanks,
Facebook.
dude.
I guess we won't be seeing Carl at Lord Night. We'll have another call. Thanks for watching to the 12 or so people we had. And I'll get this video up so we can go back and watch it and relive the glory days anytime you want.
Cool. Have a good night, fellas.
Yeah, awesome hearing this stuff.
Good night.
Take it
Good
easy,
night,
guys.
stream. Bye, guys.